Scotland Partnership Manager at the Money and Pension Service. And the purpose of today's presentation is really just for me to give you a broad introduction and an overview of MAPS. So, you know, the support I offer as Partnership Manager to businesses in Scotland. I'll highlight some of the useful resources and support that we offer. And then we should hopefully have time for some questions at the end. I'll try and answer anything that you want to fire at me today. Anything that I can't cover on the spot, I will take offline and get back to you. Just a word of warning also, I'm still working from home and I've got 2 young children who are currently getting ready for school. So hopefully the recording won't pick up the audio of any potential running battles in the background. And I'm just going to switch my camera off as I click through these slides. So for today, as I said, for this presentation, I'm just going to cover a little bit about who we are, what MAPS do, the importance of financial well-being. I'll cover some of our offerings, and I've highlighted some useful guidance and resources, particularly on our money advice service and our pensions advisory service. I've also given Scottish Engineering a PDF version of my slide deck. So if you want to reflect on the presentation afterwards, you should be able to click on the links and it'll take you through directly to the section of the website or the channel that I've covered. So who are the Money and Pension Service? Well, MAPS was set up over a couple of years ago now, and we bring together 3 existing well-respected financial guidance bodies. So the Money Advice Service, PensionWise, and the Pensions Advisory Service all fall under the MAPS umbrella now, if you like. So these 3 legacy brands still exist within their own right. But what we're looking to do over the coming months is we are going to launch a new brand called Money Helper. And the 3 legacy brands will gradually wind down and we'll have like a one-stop shop for consumers to engage with us. So anything to do with their money or pensions, they will have the Money Helper brand, which they can engage with, and it just makes things a little bit more streamlined and a little bit easier to navigate. We're an arm's length body, so we're sponsored by the Department for Work and Pensions. We engage with HM Treasury. All of the services and guidance that we offer is free and impartial. So with MAPS, there's no commercial angle or sales pitch. So you, your workers, your colleagues, your family and friends can connect with us with confidence. This is what we do across our 5 core functions. So as our name suggests, we provide money and pensions guidance. We are the largest funder of debt advice in England, but debt advice is a devolved issue in Scotland. So in Scotland, we work with Scottish Government and other partners across the debt advice community to provide appropriate and relevant support. We offer consumer protection, so we work with governments and the FCA to protect consumers against financial scams. Unfortunately, scams have again been on the rise over the past year or so throughout the pandemic. Pension scams in particular, again, have been spiking. There's some really despicable behaviour going on out there, as you can probably imagine. You probably see it yourselves from the type of text messages and emails and phone calls that you receive. They're becoming more and more advanced and they look more legitimate. So we do a lot of work to educate and support people against these practices to make sure that they don't get caught out. And then finally, we launched our UK strategy for financial wellbeing last January, which is an ambitious 10-year plan where we're looking to improve financial wellbeing across a number of measures in the next decade. And I will come on to that shortly just to give you a little bit more information. So our vision sounds simple enough. We want everyone in the UK to make the most of their money and pensions. So from pocket money to pension pots, we want people to have the right information, guidance and support to make informed decisions. But obviously there's massive challenges out there. The case for financial wellbeing to be improved was compelling, before the pandemic, but unfortunately, COVID has exacerbated many of the issues that we were trying to address. So it's made our job more important than ever to make sure that financial well-being is on the agenda and we can improve relevant outcomes for people. This figure was taken from our data and research before the pandemic. So pre-COVID, it was estimated that the cost of low financial well-being was about 1.56 billion due to absenteeism and presenteeism. So again, unfortunately, we expect that figure to be a little bit worse off as a result of everything that we've faced over the past year or so. There's a lot of good work going out there in the workplace around improving mental health, improving general well-being, but financial well-being is obviously intrinsically linked to people's mental health and their general well-being. So a big part of our job and what I do with employers and partners to improve financial well-being in the workplace is trying to make sure that the conversation around money guidance, people improving their finances is addressed so that people can be signposted and access the support that they need when they need it. So this is our definition of financial well-being. It's about feeling secure and in control. So we want people to know that they can pay the bills today, can deal with the unexpected, so have a little bit of financial resilience and be on track for a healthy financial future. So we want people to feel confident and empowered when it comes to their financial situation and their general financial well-being. And I probably don't need to labour this with many people who are on today's session, but a financially healthy nation is good for individuals themselves, which obviously then improves the communities that they live in and they work in. It's good for business because it increases productivity, it allows businesses to function better, and as a result of that, it obviously improves the economy. So this is our UK strategy for financial wellbeing, as I said, which we launched last January. So it addresses what we call 5 agendas for change. I won't go through everything today, just given the time frame that we're working to. But if you want more information on our strategy, you can download the full document on our website. There's also a short YouTube video that gives you a little bit more information on the work that we're doing. But essentially, the 5 pillars of our strategy are financial foundations, nation of savers, credit counts, better debt advice, and future focus. And we've set ambitious national goals across these 5 pillars, and each of the 4 nations within the UK will have their own what we call delivery plan. So at the moment in Scotland, we are working with Scottish Government to launch our delivery plan. It'll probably be launched in September this year, and that will break down our short, medium and long-term recommendations for Scotland and what we have to do over the next 10 years to improve financial well-being and achieve our goals for Scotland. But that will very much be a fluid plan, because obviously it'll have to be reviewed and evaluated as we go to make sure that what we are doing and the people that we're working with is having the right impact and improving the situation. And then if you can see on towards the bottom of that slide, there's a couple of main cross-cutting themes that we have to take into account. So in particular, we're looking at gender and mental health as cross-cutting themes across the 5 agendas. In my role, as I said, I've got a particular focus on using the workplace and developing the workplace as a delivery channel for financial wellbeing. So I work with employers and partners across Scotland to improve financial wellbeing in the workplace. And the idea with that is it obviously improves outcomes for workers, but that can then extend to the information that customers receive, patients, service users, tenants, etc. So this is what we offer, and this is what I do. And a large part is in my job as partnership manager. So we support businesses with a library of online articles, resources, and videos. We can provide businesses with printed guides for them to share with staff and customers. We've got an extensive suite of tools, guidance, calculators. I've highlighted some of this on today's slide deck, so I'll talk through that in a little bit more detail in a minute. We offer free pension support through PensionWise and Pensions Advisory Service. We have a number of programs, we have a number of delivery channels. Partners and employers have the ability to syndicate our content directly onto their own channels. So it's updated centrally by maps. So businesses don't have to worry about trying to keep a lot of this information up to date, because we can help them with that through syndicated content. And then hopefully, as we get back to normal, or move into the new normal, whatever that's going to look like, hopefully in the not too distant future, we'll be able to run more forums and face-to-face round tables and events. So again, if financial wellbeing is on the agenda, or you want to improve signposting for workers or highlight the types of support that's on offer, a partnership manager like myself can come along and give you a bit more information and help around that. These are the areas that we cover. So as you can see, we cover pretty much every topic around money management and money guidance. So debt and borrowing, homes and mortgages, budgeting and saving, work and benefits, pensions and retirement, family and care, cars and travel, and insurance. So obviously I don't have time to sort of highlight everything that we do in these areas and all of the support that's on offer. But for the purpose of this session, I've just called out a few things that you may be able to reflect on, or use, or signpost people to in the short term. So to start off with, the Money Advice Service is quite an established brand now. So some of you may be familiar with the Money Advice Service and the offerings within the channels. So as I said earlier, all of our guidance is free and impartial. We are here to help individuals improve their finances and get the information they need around their particular situation. There's a number of tools and calculators on the Money Advice Service website, and I'll speak a little bit about that in the next slide. There's a variety of ways to engage with us. So there's an extensive website. We have a web chat facility. We've found over the past year or so that the WhatsApp facility has been really popular. So people aren't always great about, you know, admitting that they may have an issue, or they may be putting problems off. Whereas the WhatsApp facility obviously allows someone to engage by text message. They can then maybe start to get a little bit of support from someone in our money guidance team. And then if possible, we can try and develop that into a conversation, or signpost them to a partner or a third party who can offer more bespoke support if they need it. And then we've got a telephone helpline, which is available Monday to Friday. So these are some of the popular resources that have been utilised over the past year or so. So Money Navigator tool is an online diagnostic tool that we developed and launched as a result of the pandemic. So this is a really useful tool that you can take a look at, or you can signpost, you know, your workers or your customers to. Essentially asks you a series of short questions. It only takes about 30 to 60 seconds to put in your information, and it's all anonymized, so you don't have to give any personal details for this. But you know, if you've taken a payment holiday, if you're concerned about redundancy, if you're worried about paying your mortgage or your rent, or if you're having issues budgeting, essentially you put in your information to the Money Navigator tool. And then what that does is provides the consumer with a set of recommendations. So based on the information that you provide, Money Navigator can signpost you to other areas of our delivery channels, or it can highlight partners and third parties that we work with to give the individual more bespoke or specialised help. So that's been really popular. We have devised our own coronavirus hub. So if someone's finances have been directly affected by the pandemic, they can go straight to the hub on the website, and it will give extensive information, you know, around the furlough scheme, payment holidays, redundancy support, whatever it may be, depending on the situation that someone is experiencing. And again, over the past year, depending what people have had to go through in terms of their employment situation or, you know, their health situation, budgeting and planning has probably never been more important. So we have a really useful budget planner tool that allows you to put in, you know, your core monthly bills or weekly bills, or you can break it down, you know, into what you spend in petrol, food and drink, cigarettes, etc. And then that will give people some recommendations around how to manage their finances and their money situation a little bit better. Give some sort of short to medium term recommendations around that as well. And then we're also very aware that digital delivery channels aren't for everyone. Not everyone has good digital access at the moment. So we also offer a suite of printed guides as well. So businesses or individuals can go onto the Money Advice Service website and they can order stock of printed guides around making the most of your money, pensions information, redundancy support, whatever it may be. There's a list of brochures that people can refer to there and order up for dissemination with, you know, your workforce or your customer base. And then similarly, I've just highlighted some of the support that's available from the Pensions Advisory Service. So similar delivery channels to the Money Advice Service. There's a telephone helpline. There's an online inquiry form. So if you had a burning pension question, you can fill in the online inquiry form, send it over to our pensions team, and they can respond to you that way. There's also a web chat function, and our pensions advisory colleagues can refer individuals to the PensionWise service. And PensionWise is a service that's available to people aged 50 or over with a personal or workplace pension. And I've just highlighted some bullet points on the Pensions Advisory Service because I don't think people always appreciate the level of resource and expertise that's available to them. And it's free and impartial, as I said. So we've got over 100 experienced pensions experts on our team. If you watch the Martin Lewis Money Show a few weeks ago, he hosted his first ever episode on pensions. I think it was the first episode in pensions in 9 years. And one of our colleagues was actually on the panel, which was great to see. It was a great bit of profile for us. So all of our experts are former financial advisors, pension lawyers, actuaries. They're from the sector, and they're given guidance and information on a wide variety of appointments. So we do targeted intervention appointments. You know, we support people with change of circumstances like divorce. We offer midlife reviews to self-employed people. We support people who have been approached by scammers. If someone has unfortunately fallen foul of a scam, then we can also try to see, you know, what sort of situation they've got themselves into and try to advise how they build things up again on the back of it. So that gives you a flavour of what's on offer, the types of resources that have been popular during the pandemic, and the ways that you can engage on some of these delivery channels. As part of my slide deck, I've also included the web pages for the 3 main brands, the helpline numbers, the hours of operation, and the other ways that you can engage with these services. So that is really a whistle-stop tour of the Money and Pension Service. I think I've slightly went over my 20 minutes there, but it's quite difficult to cram this all into a short presentation. So I hope I haven't bamboozled you with too much information there. I'll now hand back to Kevin, and I'm happy to answer any questions at this stage.
Morning, folks. Thanks very much, Kevin. A very detailed and interesting whirlwind tour, as you say, of the Money and Pension Service. So, folks, over to any of the attendees. Do we have any questions from their sorted attendees?
Kevin, could I, Jack here, could I ask a question?
Please crack on.
Yeah, interesting. I think it's an excellent presentation. Just ask Kevin, how are they going to get the money advice into schools? Because I think it's essential that youngsters nowadays are aware of financial implications of everything they do. You know, do
Absolutely.
they go into the schools, or how is that done?
Yeah, so it's a brilliant question, Jack, and it's one of the 5 pillars of our UK strategy for financial wellbeing, financial foundations. So financial foundations pillar is all based around improving education for children, young people and their carers. Yeah. So we're doing a lot of work in this space. We're engaged with Education Scotland and Scottish Government and how we take things forward in our delivery plan. And again, Martin Lewis also has funded a financial education textbook, which has been rolled out across. It's been launched in England and Northern Ireland. We've co-funded some of it with them as well, and it's due to be launched in Scotland shortly as well. So there's quite a lot of things happening in that space at the moment. But as we move forward over the next 10 years, it's critical that financial foundations is addressed, because you're absolutely right. We, from a workplace perspective as well, we're seeing people coming out of school, college, university and move into jobs, and they don't even have basic education around what their payslip means, you know, what it all relates to, and why it's important to actually think about your future as early as possible.
Yeah, good, thanks.
Yep. Thanks for that, Jack. Any further questions?
Can I ask Kevin? So thanks very much for the presentation. Really interesting, very wide-ranging. I didn't realise just how this had been organised. I wonder, would it be possible to get some kind of summary that I can get distributed to employees in my organisation? I know there's websites and all the rest of it, but sometimes people don't pay attention to things unless they're given a sort of specific guidance to say, you might want to have a look at this, both from the point of view of their own interests, but also they support people who may have financial difficulties. So it would be good to get this in some kind of format that I could pass out to them.
Yeah, I mean, if it helps, Ken, so my presentation today can be shared. As I said, I've given Kevin and Sarah a copy of that, so that can be shared with today's attendees. But if you feel that you may need, you know, more bespoke support or specific support around putting something together for your own workers, if you want to drop me a line, we can even sort of have a chat offline, and we can look at a separate session or a separate presentation or a separate overview that I can give you, if that would be more useful.
Well, that's great. Thanks for that offer.
No worries.
Again, we have an open forum, folks. A few more minutes before we finish up for any further questions. No. Okay, we don't seem to have any further verbal questions, and certainly there weren't any questions in the chat function. So all that remains is me to thank everyone who's attended today. Kevin, thank you very much for your very interesting presentation. I'll have, as Kevin said, the PDF of the slides and a link to the recording sent out later on today. But obviously anyone can reach out to Kevin directly if they have any issues on the pensions front as well. So without any further ado, thanks very much, folks. I'll let you get on with your day. Cheers now. Bye-bye.
Thanks,
everyone.